I've never done this before, but I just feel like it's really important to make this video to clarify something that has a lot of people seemingly confused. So I just did this video yesterday about how votes are counted on election night and why it takes time to count those votes. And I got hundreds of comments saying basically the same thing. Something to the effect of, we've always known who won on election night. Things just changed in 2020. I'm going to just list all the ways in which that's completely inaccurate based on our country's history. Now, this is a long video, so if you don't have time to watch it right now, I promise you it's worth it, so save it and come back to it later. So I'm going to start by telling you a fact that might blow your mind. You've never known the official winner of an election on election night. What you've known is the projected winner that the media announces on TV, on the radio, in a newspaper, and more recently online. And there are many well-documented elections in this country where the media did not call the election for a candidate on election night. And though the media generally has an excellent record of projecting the winners correctly, there's one famous instance where the media projected it wrong. So let's start there. In 1948, all the polling had Harry Truman losing to Thomas Dewey. On election night, the media projected Thomas Dewey had beat Harry Truman. It wasn't until more votes were counted overnight that Truman found out at 4 o'clock the next morning he was in fact the projected winner. In fact, there's this famous picture of him holding a newspaper saying his opponent had beat him, which of course was wrong. But if that's too far back in time for you, let's talk about something more modern. In 1960, the election was so close, the media didn't call President Kennedy's victory over Nixon until the next morning. Same thing in 1976. The media didn't call the election for Jimmy Carter until the next morning. And don't get me started with the 2020 election when we didn't know who won between George W. Bush and Al Gore for more than a month. So I'm sure you're wondering, well, how does the media project the winner then? Well, this is what you're used to seeing on TV. Anchors projecting or calling a winner on election night. Each media outlet has their own methodology for how they do that. Many of them work together, and the projections are based on several things. Raw vote count totals from election officials, in some cases exit polls, and also modeling data based on votes that have already been reported by county election officials and those that are still left to be counted. Now, you have to understand an election is not official until it's certified by the state. And that never happens on election night. Before the vote can be certified, there's a canvass, which happens at both the state and the local level. And it's an accounting of all the ballots, including the provisional ballots and the absentee ballots. Each state has its own deadline for when the canvass needs to be complete. And don't forget, there are also recounts that can be done either because a candidate wants one or because it's required by law in a close race. And then, of course, there's election lawsuits that challenge the results, and those can delay the official results of an election too. So if you made it this far, congratulations. Thank you for sticking it out with me. I hope you learned a couple of things. And if you need some help with this midterm election coming up, I created this midterm election guide. It has all kinds of really good information in it to help you keep track of all of these projected races. It has a scorecard. It has a glossary of important terms. It has key races you should know. There's lots of great information in it. You can pick up your copy in my Stan store. It's linked.